Hello, my name is Lloyd Chapman. I'm president and founder of the American Small Business League. I'd like to talk to you today about the SBA's continued claim that the reason that Fortune 500 firms are getting federal small business contracts is due to miscoding and, as Mike Stamler said in a recent story, because of simple human error. So let's look at the facts. I guess since 2003, there have been over a dozen federal investigations that found that Fortune 500 firms are getting small business contracts. The first investigation was based upon FY 2000 data was done by the GAO. And the GAO admitted they launched that investigation based upon information that I provided, which I'm very proud of. And at that time, they found, I think, around 5,300 large businesses getting federal small business contracts. Since then, there's been a series of investigations. The ones that stick up in my mind are 514, 515, and 516. In 514, the SBA's own Inspector General found that the SBA itself was giving, I think, about a third of the contracts that they said were going to small businesses to large corporations. One of those was a company in Amsterdam with 26,000 employees around the world in 28 countries called Berman & V. Report 515 is my favorite report. It says one of the largest challenges facing the Small Business Administration and the entire federal government today is that large businesses are receiving federal small business procurement awards and agencies are receiving credit for these awards. And that brings us to 516. 516 tells us why large businesses are getting federal small business contracts. This isn't Mike Stamler's opinion or Lloyd Chapman's opinion. This is the SBA's own Inspector General. And they refer to it as false certifications and improper certifications, which are a synonym for fraud, by the way, which is punishable by up to 10 years in prison under Section 16D of the Small Business Act. The SBA's own Office of Advocacy released a report in 2004, 2005. It's called the Eagle Eye Report. And they found that large businesses land federal small business contracts through vendor deception, another synonym for fraud. So it's not miscoding. It's not, as Mike Stamler says, because of simple human error, computer glitches. What else did they say? Data integrity problems. Think of it this way now. This has gone on for over a decade. Can you take a quarter and flip it and make it land heads 1,000 times in a row? Every day for a decade? No, you can't do that. See, flipping a coin is random, just like miscoding would be random. And if this were random, half the time awards to large corporations would be reported as small business awards, and the other half the time, awards to small businesses would be reported as large business awards. It would tend to cancel itself out. But every day for a decade, Mike Stamler wants people to believe, and I'm shocked by the way that he's got any credibility in the media, at all after all these years. He wants you to believe that every day for a decade, whenever a federal contracting official or a clerk or a government supplier makes a mistake, 100% of the time, every day for a decade, it has just accidentally diverted federal small business funds to Fortune 500 firms or other large businesses and just accidentally increased the government's small business contracting data, which falsifies the fact that this government is reaching the congressionally mandated 23% small business goal. It's not believable. I can't believe that any journalist would believe that. So Mike Stamler is a bold-faced liar. He's a professional liar. He's done this for years and years and years. He's been there through 4 different SBA administrators telling these same tired lies, and I can't believe that people believe it. So, if this was miscoding, let's just say, and again, I don't think the miscoding excuse, I hope I've convinced you that random things, don't happen all the same way, right? But let's just say if it's miscoding, then why did the SBA lie to a federal judge and say they had no information on government small business contracting? Why do I have to go to federal court anytime I want to see any information on government small business contracting? Why does the SBA and the Pentagon, the GSA, and the OMB, why did they take off the number of employees and the annual revenue on CCR so you can't tell if a company's large or small? Why did they take off the, the Dun & Bradstreet number on the parent company on the Fair Procurement Data System? Why did they take off the primary NIC code, the capabilities narrative? Why did the GSA recently destroy 10 years worth of historical data that's been used to show that large businesses have in fact misrepresented themselves as small businesses. So when you look at this situation, they're willing to go to federal court to withhold this information because they know, like I know, and like the SBA Inspector General knows, this is felony federal contracting fraud. False certifications, improper certifications, vendor deception. That's the truth. I challenge Mike Stamler or Karen Mills or anybody in the country to show me one federal investigation that says that some of the biggest corporations in the world are getting federal small business contracts accidentally. I read every report cover to cover. I've never seen that mentioned. So to journalists out there, anyone that tries to convince you that this is random or miscoding or computer glitches, that's just a bold-faced lie. And again, Mike Stamler, I know you're going to watch this. You are a liar. You lying little weasel. I can't believe you still got a job there. I'm going to do everything I can to see if I can't change that. We're suing the SBA right now for Stamler's phone records. They're going to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to withhold that little weasel's phone records. I wonder why. You've got to sue them to get Stamler's emails. But we're coming after you, Mike, and I'm going to get your emails, your phone records, and I'm going to shut you down. I'm going to stop you from lying. I'm going to stop you from cheating small businesses here in this country. And, you're not the kind of person that needs to be working, for this government. We don't need liars like you in our government. We need honest, hardworking people that care about the American people. I'll tell you a quick story. This is for you, Mike. About 5 years ago, I was at a trade show in Atlanta, and I'd gotten the first congressional investigation. The Associated Press wrote a story that ran in about 30, 40 newspapers around the country, and people knew that I was trying to end the fraud and abuse that you try to cover up every day of your life. And a young couple, I shouldn't say young couple, they were probably in their late 30s, early 40s, wanted to talk to me between these meetings. And so I was talking to them. It was a guy and his wife, and they quit their jobs and taken all their retirement money and taken out a second mortgage on their house and started a computer company. Because they've been to some SBA seminar about starting your own small business to sell to the government. And they've been in business for, I'd say, 6 months. And they're going bankrupt. They're going to lose their house, their health insurance, everything they worked for all their lives because they were losing $1,000 federal small business contracts to Fortune 500 firms and this company in Holland. And they were confused because they'd been to the SBA seminar about selling to the government and the government's small business contracting goal, and they were so naive, they were confused about how this was happening. And as they told the story, the wife started to cry, and she dipped her head down, and the tears ran down her cheeks and dripped off her chin onto her dress. Her husband leaned in to console her. He started to cry, and I'll never forget that. And that's what you do for a living. Thousands of small businesses out there have lost everything they worked for all their lives because of lying people like you. And while I get compared to Cesar Chavez and David of David and Goliath, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I just can't imagine doing what you do for a living and being proud of that, So be ashamed of yourself because you're a liar, you're a con man, you're hurting our economy, you're hurting our country, you're helping to destroy the lives of millions and millions of legitimate American small businesses that have worked so hard to try to make their business make a go of it and work with the government. And so many of them have failed because of people like you. And I'm going to stop you. And I'm not going to let you get away with this any further. So again, it's not miscoding. It's not computer glitches. It's not honest mistakes. It's not data integrity. It's not, as Mike Stamler says, simple human error. It's intentional, willful. In many cases, it's felony contracting fraud. And that's why I've got to go to federal court every day of my life to simply take a look at who's getting federal small business contracts. So my name is Lloyd Chapman, President of the American Small Business League, and thank you very much.